Now that the property's all fixed up, they've drawn down on their rehab funds, they get the property rented. Now that the property is showing value from the income, they can qualify for a debt service coverage ratio loan, a DSCR loan. A DSCR loan is a real estate investing tool that real estate investors use in order to be able to qualify for 30-year term financing without having to provide any proof of income or tax returns or pay stubs to qualify. It's based off of the property's ability to pay its own debts, not the personal income of the borrower. Now, they do need to have good to great credit in order to get the most cash out. So, with a borrower that has a 680 credit score or higher, they're eligible for 75% loan to value cash out, which allows for the BRRRR strategy to work for its highest and best use. In fact, I do a handful each month of DSCR loan purchases, but I do believe that the best use for a DSCR loan is going to be as a refinance for this exact strategy where a property is bought quickly because they're finding a distressed situation, they're fixing it up, making it better than when they found it, they get a tenant in there and then they refinance. The reason being is on the front end, if you're using a DSCR loan, while it has all of the advantages that I just said as far as not having to provide any proof of income or tax returns and things like that, these do require a 20 to 25% down payment. For a DSCR loan does not want to be leveraged any more than 75 to potentially 80% of the property's value. The main underwriting guideline, what the loan is approved based upon, is the actual debt service coverage ratio. Now, we can and the requirement is a 1.0 or higher. Now, for those of you guys that aren't familiar with ratios, a ratio is expressed by a numerator over a denominator. And so when you have a piece, when the numerator is equal to the denominator, that's a division equation. When it equals one, that means that it's even. You're not actually bringing in positive cash flow. While the loan may still be approved, it's not that great. 1.0 means the property can cover the debt service one time. Correct. What we are looking for is a 1.15 or a 1.25. That would be a 15 or a 25% return on the income over its fixed expenses. What that looks like is the annualized gross rent. So if a property is rented out for $2,000 a month, annualized gross rent would be 24,000. Guys, lock in. Make sure you're putting the emojis in the chat on this because these are absolute gems. Okay, more than once the property can cover more than. All right, Salter. When we're looking at single family 1 to 4 properties, the average debt service coverage ratio is going to be anywhere from 1.15 to 1.25 as far as approvals. Jerry is learning a lot. Go ahead and put your emojis in the chat. I want to see this thing light up like a Christmas tree. Ruth, how much LTV will your DSCR cover? We can go up to 80% on the purchase and 75% cash out confidently. There's one program that I have that does 80% cash out, but it does require a higher DSCR. All right, Ruth's already in the game. Okay, I have 85%. If it perfect. All right, guys. So here is the DSCR loan process. Now, the refinance when the property's rent ready. Now this should look familiar to you pre-approval, but you already have the documentation because you work with them. You work with that same investor when they bought the property. So you already have their documentation. You already are familiar with the deal. And this should have been maybe 3 months, 4 months, 6 months have gone by. So it hasn't changed all that much as far as the mechanics of the borrower that you're working with or the paperwork that they're bringing into you. We're going to go order an appraisal again. We're going to confirm the value that we thought we were going to get on the front end as far as the after repair value. If there's some discrepancy there, okay. But most of the time it's confirmed because we're trying to work with speed and efficiency. We don't want our clients to be in a hard money loan longer than they should. We're going to be checking in with them, monitoring the status so that we're going over the top and serving our clients in the best way possible. Once the valuation is completed, we're going to have that value confirmed, then we're going to get it into underwriting. Now, beforehand, when we were talking about the hard money loan, that's more like dating because there has to be some clear exit strategy. It's a short-term, high-interest loan. You're not supposed to be in that very long. But the underwriters for this loan, they're going to be marrying the property. It's a 30-year loan. So they're going to take this a little bit more serious. So it's going to be a 2 to 3 week process just for the underwriting. Then we'll get to confirm the terms. That's where we'll grab the insurance and other title conditions. We'll submit that back to the underwriters for approval. We'll get the clear to close, and then again, we'll get paid. Average points on this one for a DSCR loan is 1 to 3 points nationwide. If you work with me in our broker boot camp, you'll get access to the lenders that I already work with, and they charge at a 0% wholesale points. So anything that you charge by way of points on the DSCR loans, that's yours to keep. So if you were going, and these DSCR loans are oftentimes a lot higher loan amounts than when you got them the hard money loan on the front end. So if we're talking what was a $300,000 loan on the purchase and rehab side, now it's going to be a $400,000 loan. Okay, what's 1 point on that? That's another 4 grand. What would you do with that money? Now that you've completed the burst strategy, now you've certified brokered them. Okay. You've gone through the burst strategy and brokered both the hard money and the DSCR loan. What would you do with that? So do you get paid commission for hard money loan and then get paid commission again for DSCR loan? Yeah, that's why this is a great business model by being able to help your clients build and scale their rental portfolios and essentially getting paid on the front end and the back end of every rental property that they do, especially when for auction purchases, can the process of approval be expedited? Milko, that's a specific one. Bookmark that and ask it again at the end. I don't, I want to get to it, but ask it at the end. Good stuff. Now, when you're building a clientele base, as far as the going through getting a commission on the hard money side and the DSCR loan side, most of the time it's visible, like the HUDs, which is the settlement statement. It's going to say my company name. It's going to say Gershom Flip and Rental Loans on there. So if they see that I'm making 3 grand on one on the front end and then 3 grand on the back end, they're gonna be like, "Hey, man, like you made $6,000 on this and you collected the same paperwork twice." Okay, that's where over time, as you start to work with the client, now your pricing because you're collecting the same paperwork anyway and submitting it to the lenders now it gets a little bit easier for you. And if you're trying to grow that business, if you know that you're going to get paid on the front end and on the back end, maybe you lighten up your fees. Maybe you make it worth the relationship and helping your clients go over the top. That's why I believe that adding this in as a wholesaler or a real estate agent, if you're already in mortgages, this is something that you can offer to your clients over and above what you're already doing as a complement and earning commissions that way.